we've had to get Neil's son in, haven't we, Sam?
And Tottenham drew 2-2, right? They could have got beat 5 or 6.
He went, get me 3 wins and you can have another week off. And we won Saturday, Tuesday, and 44th minute, 0-0, penalty. Bar IT bloke said, are you going to go to your left now? I went, no, he now thinks I'm going to go to my left. I'm going to go to my right. Swapping and changing like an outfield player. I'm not having it for 1 minute. He went, what do I do? I went, play him. All right, Adele, you're playing. Paddy, it's on your head.
Oh, no, what happened? Who has a better chance of staying up? Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday? Welcome to another episode of No Tippy Tappy Football, brought to you by William Hill. Hiya, Sam, how are you?
Great to see you, Natalie, as always.
Always lovely to see you. Always look forward to our catch-ups, our weekly catch-ups.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, I was probably the best day in midweek for me. Get this morning, right, in we go. Podcast today, let's go.
And I guess you were super excited today because of our guest. We have a perfect person for this week. So obviously there is goalkeeping issues going on at Arsenal that we will talk about. Sheffield United got a humping at the weekend and Neil Warnock has left Huddersfield. So can you guess who our guest is today? Because we've had to get Neil's son in, haven't we, Sam?
Yes, I mean, I've experienced a bit of this, but obviously with the amount of clubs he had with Neil, it's no wonder he was called son, like you mean. And I'm sure that all the players, when they wanted something, used to say, will you go and sort your dad out? And it's a great welcome to have today Paddy Kenny with us, who was goalkeeper with Neil for 5 times.
Nearly 6.
Yeah. So, welcome, Paddy. It's great to have you and look forward to today's podcast.
Thank you.
5 times Neil signed you. Like, what is that? What did he say? Did you see that he'd moved to another job? Did you automatically think, well, I'm leaving then, I'm moving?
Yeah, I think wherever he went to and all, I think their keepers panicked. I think Andy Lonergan did it at Leeds when he signed, when he went in at Leeds, and I remember speaking to Lonners and he turned around and went, well, I'm out at door, I assume Paddy's going to be coming, and it ended up happening, bless him. But no, listen, he showed me a lot of faith in my career. He had a lot of trust in me, which, as a goalkeeper, and listen, as a player, and to have a manager that shows that much trust in you is massive. And he did well for me for my career. Where did the son nickname come from? I think it goes back down to, listen, he signed me that many times. I remember one time that sticks out, that when I realised he was calling me son all the time, where he rung me up and I were out running, and it come up private number for some reason, and I think he was more shocked that I were out running.
I'm shocked you were out running.
Yeah, but I didn't know
too many goalies that were out running.
I was picking my kebab up. Take away with shutting. And he come up and he's going, son, I'm going, hello. And I was a bit wary about answering no, not caller ID anyway. And he's going, son. I went, who is it? It's Gaffer. And I went, oh, hey up, Gaffy, all right. And I think that's where the son come from. And when I told the lads, obviously, that was it. I got battered for it there.
But did they use you, like Sam said, were you the one that had to go and ask for the day off, or had to go in and see him after, something's happening?
Oh, yeah. We were one of them. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, what about Christmas do? We want to go Dublin. We want to go. Have a word. See if he's... Because some managers were a bit... Obviously, Warnock weren't that bothered. As long as you behaved, he were fine. But it'd be like, are we all right going after this game? Asking if we can have Monday, Tuesday off. So I was always going in and asking.
It'd be good that way, Neil, wouldn't he? Days off, if you're doing well. Like, I mean, I did a bit of this when I was using the reverse psychology, we used to call it. Like, I mean, so I'll do like win today and I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah, he did it regular. I always go back to one at QPR, and we'd got it was like we'd start the season really well. I think we'd won his first 3 or 4 without conceding, and then we played Derby away, and it was before the international break, and we were 2-0 down in 90th minute, and we scored 2, and we were meant to be off Sunday, Monday, back in Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, normal week.
Yeah. And
he was that excited after the game. He come in, he went, bugger that, I'll see you a week on Monday. So I went in Dubai, me for 5 days. I'm like, happy days. But we come back in on the Monday in the afternoon. We had to train at 1 o'clock. He comes out to the pitch and we're training away, and he spoilt training straight away. Blew his whistle. I want to chat. He went, no one leaves till I've had a meeting with after dinner. So we were all there after we have dinner, and he went, right, we've got another international break in 5 weeks. He went, we've got 6 matches. He went, get me 3 wins and you can have another week off. And we won Saturday, Tuesday, and he got everyone on. It's just like
Holiday
it's not
books.
rocket science. We didn't train that season one Monday unless we had a game on the Tuesday. That's what it used to be like. It was brilliant. And because I was travelling from Sheffield as well, he used to say to me, "There's no point you coming in Tuesday. I'll see you Thursday." So I'd turn in Thursday. I used to, golden balls is here. It must be Thursday. I used to get battered.
There's a lot of this disappeared now, Nat, like I mean, because in actual fact, the sad thing is that we and me more than anybody taking on sports science, strength and conditioning, the lads who are science-wise and the lads who look at the science behind it and have done the degrees and so on and so forth. And you've got to be careful about that when you're the manager. When I say manager, not the coach. Because head coaches are not managers and they can't manage really. Because they're more infiltrated in the coaching than they are in the management and the psychology of the manager with the team. Hence what Neil did with the players. And of course, when I started that, these lads used to panic. Fitness coaches, diet nutritionalists, they just go, it's going to throw them out the window. They won't be able to stay fit. They won't be able to. The balance is where you make the decision. And of course, you understand them lads panicking because they want to do the job properly and you manage that. And that's what your job is. And that's gone really out the window now because you can't. You'd be too frightened to do it now because if it gets out in the press, get him sacked. Letting lads go out and enjoy themselves, giving them 5 days off. And that's a real problem because the psychological barriers that players have to face today and the psychological barriers that everybody has to face today when suicide is the greatest killer in this country, between 20 and 40, between young men and young women, it's a reason where we are and where we're going in the world. Well, it's the same with football. Are we throwing players into a great problem mentally because we're focusing always on the fitness, and we were just saying before we sat down here, I wouldn't change my time as a player. And Paddy was saying, well, I wouldn't want to change my time as a player. And I think that says something for you because that's us sacrificing all the money that you can get now. But the joy we had is not, well, obviously the players who play now wouldn't understand that because they didn't experience it. But that's management for you. Managers manage, coaches coach. You know what I mean? And that's a real big thing in terms of success. If you want success anywhere, you have to be a great manager. You don't have to be a great coach. You can get somebody else to do that.
I think what you said then, I come across that with Kevin Blackwell. He was under Neil Warnock and he was an unbelievable coach, really good, very high intensity every day. But then he became a manager and he didn't have the man-manager skills to be a manager. He didn't know how to cope with players then because he wanted to do both jobs. And it's hard. It's a difficult job to do, doing both, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what Sam just said.
So what are you up to now? What is life looking like for you just now?
I have got a transport business called PK Transport Movements,
which
I've had for nearly 6 years now. Going back to mental health, I actually fell into it. So when I retired, I went to Northampton as goalie coach with Robert Page, who's now Wales manager. Yeah. He got the sack. We all got the sack. I thought, it's not for me, this. I can't be going in and out of jobs. I'm not bothered. And I went down a slippery slope and I was probably 6-7 months just going out drinking every day, not in a good place mentally. And a friend of mine started a transport company up and he said, listen, don't take this the wrong way, but why don't you come and work a couple of days a week for me? You need a purpose to get up. Do a bit of driving. He said, it's easy work. He said, I've always used to driving. He said, and see how you go. And I worked for him for 7 months. I ended up then realising it was a good business to be in and I had the money to be able to set up myself. So I ended up setting my own business up and that's nearly 6 years ago and I've not looked back. And when I said to you before, I had 6-7 months of just drinking all the time. I was bored, I didn't know there's always so much golf you can play and stuff like that. Right, yeah. And now I just physically can't be bored or get depressed or get down or there's always something going on all the time. So no, I'm busy doing that. I've just had a new baby. Well, I hadn't had it with my wife.
I was about to say, yeah.
I might look like I've had it. I'm still losing a bit of baby weight, do you know what I mean?
I'm going to say that. That's a first.
But no, so I've got a little
Congratulations.
daughter who's 8 weeks old, so she's occupying my time now and all.
I hate it when men say that, by the way.
What?
But we've had a baby. No, you have not.
Yeah, I know,
You have not. I remember Amric Laporte had a baby and he put on his social media, we're all okay. And I was like, yeah, you're okay. It was like something like that. Yeah, you're all right. You didn't do nothing.
No, listen, by the way, when she was giving birth, I were helping push one of the legs up. And every time she were tensing up, I were tensing up. My stomach were hurting after.
Oh, no. Poor Paddy.
Hard work, you know, it was hard work. I needed a day off.
So you're proper busy. It's refreshing to hear a retired footballer say, like, I went and got a normal job because I wanted to fill my days.
You've got to do something, haven't you? It's difficult sometimes when you're used to 20 years of doing the same thing. And all my career, all I thought were, I'll be a goalie coach when I finish. I'll be a goalie coach, yeah. And then obviously once I did
Not
it,
that easy, is it?
no, it's not that easy.
No.
You don't realise what goes into being, as a player, a manager, assistant manager, a coach, a goalie coach. It's so hard how much work you've got to do. Well, as a player, you take it for granted. You turn in for training, you train, you're away after 2 hours.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm a goalie coach, training finishes. We're watching 2 matches. We don't leave till 6, 7 o'clock at night. And you're like, you don't see that side of it.
Then you have to have a look at the
player.
academy coaches.
Yeah,
don't
then you go to a
So
game that night as well.
Again,
And so you're not getting until 12 o'clock. But as a player, you don't see none of that.
So 5 times with Neil. Did you ever get close to signing Paddy? Too busy with Neil?
No, I don't think so. Like, I mean, I think we were just talking before. It actually reminded me. It's like that. We had a goalkeeping coach, Fred Barber, and I was okay. Good connections with Berry, and I think that Paddy was at Bury with Neil, and they didn't have a goalkeeping coach. So I don't know how often he came over. Paddy will tell us, but we used to let them come over and train with Fred Barber, our goalkeeping coach. Give him a bit of training, give him a bit of a Fred's battering, isn't it?
Oh, they were tough sessions,
Yeah.
Especially when you weren't used to them.
Yeah.
I had a goalie coach. We used to probably go in maybe every 2-3 weeks. They were brilliant letting us go in. Like I said, we didn't have a goalie coach. And it were also good because they were at a lot higher level than us, and I used to train with Jussi Askelainen and Steve Banks on it.
And who else?
And Mark Halsey.
We
thought we dropped
the
Mark,
referee.
The referee.
He used to come and train with us, and
yeah.
he was always in his younger days. He was always a goalie, like
Yeah.
I mean. So we used to let him like get up with the gloves on and everything, and like train with the goalies, like I mean. So
He kept his fitness up, didn't
he
he?
did, yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, it was good for me to go because I was just starting my career out, even because I didn't come into it till I was 20. And I used to go in, and then obviously you're watching the Bolton goalkeepers, you're thinking, I could see a different level to me, and you're thinking, this is what sort of level you've got to be at, you've got to up your game, and it was nice for me that, so it was good for Sam to let us come in.
I've got a 5-year-old son who, I mentioned to you before, Sam, he wants to be a goalkeeper. So he's just started playing this season because he's just old enough. It's when they turn 6 in a team as a goalkeeper. What should I do with him? What's your tips? What do you think?
Just let him enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let him go out, enjoy it, play as much as he can. It's all at that age, you've got to enjoy it. It's mad, isn't it, how you say now 5-year-old at team.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it were under 11s.
Really?
It didn't start till under 11s.
It's under 7s, it is.
Under 7s, so it were under
Has he got his
11s.
gloves as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sam, he's so
But no,
cute.
I think for any kids at that age, you've just got to let them go enjoy it. That's key. Because if you start getting too strict and all this, you're going to just destroy them, and they'll go off it after a few
Just got to see if
years.
there's any natural talent there, Nat.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Has he got a natural desire and a natural talent to be a goalie? So if you're just watching him and you'll see it pretty quickly, because you'll see how well he catches the ball and
He
what he
likes to
does,
get
like I
stuck
mean,
in,
and he gets
Sam.
stuck in. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only thing is you need to have him playing out as much as playing in goal, because if he's not gonna be able to play out as well now, it's a massive change, Paddy.
I feel like they've lost the art of goalkeeping now.
Correct,
They're more
yeah.
bothered about them being able to play out front back, and you see more errors now from saves. I think the Man U goalie last week, you see that shot. It's bread and butter, that, surely. Listen, I know we all make mistakes, and I've made plenty of them, but at that sort of level, they should be saving it. Do you know what I mean? And I feel that they've definitely lost the art of making saves, and they're more bothered about being able to ping it to someone's chest or play out front back, and they put the ball at the risk so much now, which like I touched on earlier, I'm glad I don't play now because I know you'd practice it, but I'm glad I don't play now because I would not be comfortable doing it me personally. Yeah, we're under Warnock. Listen, we were the most direct teams ever under Warnock. It were effective though. Do you know what I mean? We used to set any free kicks in our half, keeper takes it, 2 centre halves go up, put it on the edge of their box, and we pick second balls up. And it were effective.
Definitely.
I know it's evolved football, I do get it, but yeah, I don't like this playing out from back too much.
Oh,
well,
music Sam's ears, that.
It's why this is called No Tippy Tappy Football, because I've got no problem with the playing out from the back if it's the right time. Everything is about is it or isn't it, and the game's become so obsessed that every time's the right time now. I mean, I watched Tottenham versus Arsenal at the weekend, and I was sat there and going, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why they must have lost the ball in their own half in the first half, Tottenham, 8 or 9 times. And they all going, what a great performance.
It's all right now.
They're all right listen, Tottenham drew 2-2, right? They could have got beat 5 or 6, purely simply on the balls they lost in their own half. And it's unfortunately for the coaches today, it's a fact that they have to do it now. Otherwise, they're going to lose the job. They're going to say they don't play the right way. You know, it's not this or that or that. But you know, so outside influences have taken coaches and young coaches decision making away by saying we can only do that. So you only look for a player that plays out well. So when you talk about goalkeepers and saves, I talk about centre halves and how bad they are at defending. Because I'm going, what's your body position? Why did you not know he was running behind you? Why were you not side on? Why did you not look over your shoulder before the cross came in? Why did you go and try and nick it in front of him when you had no chance of winning it? And all those things are more and more highlighted every weekend when I'm watching every weekend. In the fact that, and I keep saying this all the time, Natalie's sick of hearing it, everybody comes in here. The only way you win anything is having the best clean sheet record and the best defensive record. As irrespective of if you're going to get up the league, you need a goal scorer. If you're going to stay in the division, you need the best defensive. Yeah, you need the best defensive in that bottom 8.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then 1 goal wins you the game when you've no goal scorer, so you get 3 points. At the top of the league, yeah, you're going to score lots of goals, but there's times when you play probably the top 6, you need to keep a clean sheet, and 1 goal wins you the game, and you get the 3 points instead of the others.
Yeah.
So, but the emphasis on non-defending is ridiculous now. So, but for the punter, I suppose, the everyday man, it might make it more entertaining because there might be more goals scored. But I'm not actually seeing that at the minute because defences have not put under that much pressure by the amount of time the teams are taking to get from their own goal to the opposition's goal. It's taking that long, they're doing 60, 70 passes, and in the end it peters out because there's 11 men behind the ball. And then they go like that, and all right, if they close down from the front. So there's only one man who I really, really admire by the fact that he's not influenced by all that. He's obviously at Brentford. And about the fact that he's saying that our team use its abilities, Thomas Frank, to play this way, which is now a mixture of both. Now he's got better players. He's got a mixture of both. Ivan Toney, play off him, yeah, goes to Man City last year, batters Man, well, not say batter, but win comfortably against Man City because Man City centre half couldn't cope with Ivan Toney flicking it on.
Yeah,
Brentford get 2 men running in behind every time it goes to Ivan Toney. 2 men every time. Flicks on more than... And then they play when it opens up. You know what I mean? So, he's the only man that takes no notice of the outside influences, and he has his group of players. They're a brilliant team that are progressing under very limited finances. And at the opposite end, you could go down and say how brilliant Brighton are, and they are. So they've got a different attitude, and that's how it should be to make the Premier League so exciting. But now it's becoming more boring in my term because everybody's trying to do the same, and if they're trying to do the same, then it becomes a negative vibe for me and less entertaining.
Never get sick of you saying that, by the way. Never
No.
sick of hearing you say that, Sam. Never. I've been getting your listener questions this season. Thank you so much for sending them in. The best way to send your questions in is to get me on Twitter. And we've had a question from Luke Williamson, and he would like to know, Paddy, quite simply, your best ever Neil Warnock story. If you
He's got too many.
Yeah.
I reckon he's got too many.
Best Neil Warnock story. I think obviously it were a weight one. Have I touched on this one yet?
No.
No?
No.
Or we were talking about it
You
before?
told me before.
Oh.
Yes.
Edit
Yes.
that bit, can't I?
Yes.
No, and I'd wanted to lose a bit of weight, and I went to see Tony Daly, who were our fitness coach at the time, and I said, I want to lose a bit of weight before season starts. Right, we'll do this, we'll do that. So I used to go on the bike before training, after training, just 20 minutes each day, a bit of a fat burner. And eventually I'd lost a stone, and I'd lost about 4 or 5% body fat. So I was down to about 50%. So anyway, season started, and whether I were playing bad or out, I just couldn't buy a save. And you go for it, it's like a striker not being able to score it sometimes. And I couldn't buy a save. And Warnock got me in the office, and he just went, "What's wrong with you? Why are you when I need you? That's what you normally there when I need you. Them important saves at them right moments, you're not there." I went, "Gaffer, do you know what? Since I've lost that weight, I've just not felt same." He went, "What weight?" I'm like, "Well, I've lost a stone, and my body fat's down 4 or 5% since last season." He went, "What?" I went, yeah, me and Tony have been doing it. He went, "I'll tell you what, get in your car and on your way home, get to McDonald's and put that weight back on now." You couldn't get there quick enough.
And did it help?
Yeah, I think I saved one off my backside about a week later, and then I were bang at it again.
Did you ever speak to John Burridge?
No.
Well,
Who was that?
Budgie was John Burridge was
Head case,
the
wasn't it?
most outrageous goalkeeper you'd met like in the days.
Must
like
up there with Fred Barber with mask when
Well,
Fred
yeah.
were head
Well, I
case.
think Fred top copied it off.
Oh,
Budgie.
did they?
Like, I mean, you know, and he was renowned. He used to do handstands before they started playing. He could walk on his hands. He could do, you know, and he'd say he's the best goalkeeper in the division, like, I mean, and all that, like, I mean, and he'd speak to him about. And what I found out interesting about him after all the hype about what he is, he was hyperactive, he trained, still played when he was 40 odd in goal. He was that fitness fanatic. He used to put sand in pockets of a jacket and put the jacket on and practice his crossing. This was his own psychology, because he said when I went out on a Saturday, I felt lighter, so I felt like I could jump higher. So all this, and he said to me he was struggling once, and he actually dug out his own sports psychologist.
Wow.
And the sports psychologist, they between them did a tape that he used to listen to the day before a game or the morning of a game. And they put him in the right frame of mind. And this was way, way before we were ever having. I mean, if we had a sports psychologist in our dressing room at that time, we go, that's only for weak people, like I mean. But I always admired him for the fact that he won his career, two, how long he played in goal. You know what I mean? And he became a goalkeeping coach, but I think it would be all the goalkeepers that worked under him probably wouldn't get anywhere or understand the type of training he did or want to even do that. But for him, it was fine. You know, but Budgie, what a character.
I heard a story about him, though, when his wife used to walk around the house with oranges and just throwing it in randomly. And
that's
he'd
it.
Like that.
Yeah, right. That's it.
Honestly,
You're right.
it's
You're right. You're right. That was it. Yeah.
You should have a bag of oranges and just throw it in randomly.
Yeah.
Why oranges?
Watching Coronation Street.
Do you know what? I am worried that my son wants to be a goalkeeper, because with the greatest respect, Paddy, most of you seem pretty crazy. Like the more stories you hear of goalkeepers.
Listen, to dive at people's feet, you've got to have something wrong way. Haven't you?
Well, normally everybody starts when the kids start playing football. Like every other kid that wants to play, they want to play up front. And like, you know, they want to play up front, and then sooner or later they work their way back. Like, I mean,
you know, Sam, when it were me, it were fat lad in goal. So that were me, fattest kid in goal. That were me. I used to have to go.
Oh,
honestly, because I filled it, I think.
Right, let's get on to some of the stuff that's been going on in football this week. And like I say, what a show to have you on today. Sheffield United got beat by Newcastle at weekend. 8-0. 8 different goal scorers.
Yeah.
Sam, what did you think, first of all, when you saw that result?
Well, I think the one thing that every manager from the point of view is, and just in the Champions League, would worry about your team playing on the Saturday. And if you're the manager of the team that when Newcastle are coming to play, you'd be talking to your players about staying in the game and the fatigue that Newcastle players are going to feel having played in Europe. You know, it's the big game, you know, the first big game in the Champions League, and then they're coming playing Sheffield United. So the significance between the two games is quite dramatic, up the hype on the Champions League. And then even though the Premier League's that big, you know, they're just coming down to Bramall Lane. So there could be a psychological advantage there for the Sheffield United players. But obviously, they just folded. And I think that, you know, the sad thing is for the manager, the coach, is I've always worried about the fact that the players lose control and they chase a game. And there's one thing in life you never chase, never mind football, you never chase a game. So if you chase anything in life, yeah, you lose control of your mind. You lose the rationality of should or shouldn't you do it. And that's what happened with Sheffield United. So manager responsibility at half-time 3-0. What, in my humble opinion and my experience, what I would do is, all I want from you in the second half is a clean sheet. I don't want you to concede another goal. And if we happen to go and score, what develops in the game, it relieves the position that we're in and makes us feel a little bit better. But then to go out and concede another 5 shows a complete lack of discipline by the players.
I think they only needed to keep it at 0-0 for probably 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
And Newcastle had probably thought,
that's enough today.
Enough, and it probably would have petered out, won it
the
match anyway. But like you said, I think to get beat at psychologically 8-0 now is a bit worrying going into the next match against West Ham.
That's not taking away how good Newcastle were.
No.
But they were given the time and the space to really do. And you give those players that time and space, you know, with the quality that they've got, they'll punish you. And they did. So it's a big one to get over. And, like, you know, the sad thing is what a great job he did last season. Fantastic job to get Sheffield United back on a limited budget. And of course, hasn't had the biggest of budgets to spend. You might know better than me, Paddy. He hasn't had that much to spend on players. I
think he's let 2 of the best players go. I
think
think the team's
sold,
actually weaker than last season.
But he's going to carry the can for that, because if it continues, the fans will say, you know, he's not good enough to manage in the Premier League. The press will say it. The owners will sack him, and most of the responsibility wouldn't be him, even though he has to accept that. Because if you're working with the players who are in the end going to struggle in that level, then you go to the board and say, and perhaps he's not in a strong enough position to do it, and he has to accept what the board choose to see, which is, you know, can we make some money out of this, instead of can we invest some money to make sure we stay in for the longer term. Because we've been here before with Chris Wilder, and we did the first season all right, and the second season we collapsed. This time round, have we learned our lesson? And clearly they haven't, because they haven't invested in the players that I think he deserved to try and get to help Sheffield United be a better squad.
Can they stay up?
Tough,
That'd be difficult. I can't. I'd be very surprised. Listen, my heart wants them to massively, but if you're going to be realistic, no, it's going to be tough. I think all 3 that come up potentially could just go straight back down.
Yeah.
Well, what about the managerial situation? Because obviously these Chris Wilder rumours, they just continue.
No, I spoke to Chris this week, and he didn't see any legs in it, like you mean. So I think he's got a couple of interested parties abroad, he tells me. So,
and I think he left on bad terms himself, so it's a tough one to go back to.
He's got couple of options abroad that he's exploring, like I mean. So, yeah.
Okay, right. Next goalkeeping thing that's going on. Arsenal. I just can't get over this, by the way. I still find it so weird. What do you make from your sort of goalkeeping perspective of what's gone on, the way that Ramsdale's been treated? Because I think he had a really good... I don't know what I missed. I didn't watch Arsenal every week, but I thought he was really good last year.
I don't understand it. Listen, goalkeeping's a specialist position. It's good that they've got 2 top-class goalkeepers. I think all managers want that. But I think going on about swapping and changing like an outfield player, I'm not having it for 1 minute. No. As a goalkeeper, you have an association with your back four. You work with them. People don't see this separately at training. You might just back four.
That's Arteta trying to be clever.
Possibly, yeah. And I just can't get my head around it. And Ramsdale's not done a thing wrong. Why he's done it is beyond me. It's just bringing attention to the club that they actually don't need.
It could also destroy his confidence, and he could end up not being good enough to play for Arsenal if he can't handle it. I always felt that I found that the second choice goalkeeper, the be the number one, but the biggest choice on number 2 is can he handle it? Yeah. And that was a big, that worked out to be us to really think about this, like I mean, because we'd had a couple of goalies that fell to pieces by being number 2. So if we wanted them to step in, they failed because they couldn't cope with it. They couldn't cope with not playing and just training all the time. So I always felt that like an older, more experienced goalie would be better to be the number. In the end, at West Ham, Yussi was 35, 36, and he was number 2. And he was a great number 2 because if we needed him, he stepped in and was as good as he used to be. Whereas younger keepers that we got come in as number 2, and when they went in, they were straight out again. Yeah. You couldn't keep them in for matter because they used to cost you a goal because they wanted to play in goal. They wanted to play football. So picking the number 2 and doing this situation could be, a real problem. I mean, clearly they've found a goalkeeper much better than they thought it was going to be. And we all want to put other players. If we have to have a squad of 22, 24, 25, we get criticised throughout the media for putting them into cup games. Well, that's what we're supposed to do. They're supposed to go into cup games, to get a game, and 2, to show that they're good enough to step into the team, or 3, they're good enough to keep the lad they've replaced out the team next week. Yeah. And if they do that, you do it. And then all of a sudden you lose the game, and there's all this bullshit criticism going around about, disrespecting the cup again and all. I mean, why keep going about it? It's just that this is what you have to do. And then they go, well, listen, let me tell you this now, every owner that I've spoke to said, what's your priority? Tell me your priority. Sam, stay in the Premier League. Sam, stay in the Premier League. And then you go, right, can I have this? So we can stay in the Premier League and we can win a cup? No, you can't. That's what you've got. You get on with it. Because they keep going on about, if the football clubs at the top decide how much the manager spends and where they could spend it, and then obviously do the recruitment, you've got to get that right. But you have to ask the priorities of the football club. And if you're not doing that as a coach, you're putting yourself under pressure because the owners could say, well, I didn't want him to do that. I wanted to go and try and win a cup. If they say, go and win us a cup, and I'd say, well, it might be at the detriment of the Premier League. Okay with that? They go, yeah, we'd like to win it. I'd say, okay, I'll do that then. Because I want to win a cup when I'm managing. I want to win the FA Cup. I want to win the Carling Cup. I want to play in Europe. Yeah, I want to get the team to the top of the league. We all want that. But we're sensible enough to work under the restrictions of whatever football club we work for. But then there's still all this white noise outside about punters on the radio and talking about this, that, and the other. I mean, this morning it was Simon, Jim White, and Danny Murphy on the way in, and I'm going, God, lads, shut up about this, for goodness' sake, will you? I mean, you've been doing it long enough now not to bring it up. I mean, it's pathetic, really. Really is.
Love that, Sam. Also, Stefan Ortega won the FA Cup with Manchester City and only conceded 1 goal in the entire run, which was that dodgy penalty that United got in the final.
Yeah.
So it definitely can be done. Ramsdale's dad's come out and since all this has happened, and he's called Jamie Carragher a disgrace because apparently Jamie Carragher said that Ramsdale was like somebody losing at the Oscars when he clapped. Like, yeah, I don't... Jamie Carragher says things,
He's not around for the best to comment, so Jamie sometimes, is he? Like, I mean, like, that's what
from
what
Ramsdale's
is,
point of view, as a goalkeeper, you've got a union, you train together on your own, you're quite a close-knit thing, you all get on, you all want each other to do well. For me, he's appreciating, he's made an amazing save, and he's clapping him for doing it. I think it shows good respect, that, and shows what he thinks of him as well, even though he's took his place, and I think it shows what Ramsdale's all about. But for Carragher to come out and say that's a load of rubbish for me.
If they're not getting on, I mean, they're a unique part of you as a coach, as a manager. The least contact you have within your squad is your goalkeeping coach and your goalkeepers, because you call them over when you need them for your session, and they come in and you choose your goalkeeping coach and you keep in touch with him about what the responsibilities are. Yeah, and then you link them with the strength and conditioning coach, diet and nutrition. They have their own training program because, they're not to come and do all that running with us or whatever they do, like you mean. So you have least contact. So, but if they're training together with animosity against each other, that's not healthy. We all talk about like the bond of a team. Yeah. The bond of a team is like your two goalkeepers challenging and fighting against each other to try and get in the team healthily, not by not applauding what save he made or whatever he did. Like, I mean, it's just not, just not there. You want that harmony, and you as a manager want your goalkeeping coach say, look, I think you should put him in, Gaffer.
Too many things are said by pundits these days, I think to get attention.
It's what Ramsdale did, and listen, sure, he could have been sat there and shaking his head or whatever, and then they'd have probably said, "Oh, look at him. He can't win sometimes, can you?"
No, you can't. A random one for you is that also we saw this week. Have you either of you ever experienced after a game the owner coming into the dressing room and giving his thoughts or talking about the game? Because Pochettino has said he doesn't mind it when Chelsea's owner does it.
Yeah, whatever.
I locked the door.
Yeah.
I locked the door and wouldn't let Derek Purvis in Notts County because I had to make me stand because I'd heard about it when I took over. It wasn't long after, Neil had been a long time Notts County when after I took. I think Colin Murphy had gone. This is down in the lower division, and I'd heard about Derek's antics. And somewhere along the line, it's what destructive nature that might be. So you have to make a decision on whether you do or whether you don't. And I think that Mick McCarthy had one of those with when he was at Wolves, and I think that was a problem then. I think the owner was a big building contractor from Liverpool. Can't remember what it was like, but and all of a sudden he started coming down making comments straight after the game in the dressing room. And it's the American style because, I played in the States in the good old days. When you finished the game, you walked out the shower and everybody walked in, including female journalists.
Yeah, I've seen that one, yeah.
And you got nothing on. You know what I mean? And it just wasn't a problem, So that's a cultural thing that he needs to have a chat with him about, because the players will look and say, "Is that undermining the manager?" So I let Steve Parish go and tell the players what he thought of them after a game. I invited him in because he was so angry after we got beat against Sunderland 3-0. And we were fighting Sunderland to stay up in the league then. And I said, look, you go and tell him what you feel like. I said, because he needs to come. He's a passionate Crystal Palace fan. He's a Crystal Palace fan first and an astute businessman second. So I said, you go and tell him how you feel. So I got no problem with that. So and I tell you why he was brilliant at it as well, by the way. So I took a few clues off him for next time. That was an instinctive thing for me, because he was in my room and he told him, you all want this and that and the other, and for 15, 20 minutes. And we look at the reaction after. It was a good response. It could have been a bad one. Could have been the worst thing I'd ever done. But in the end, our team from there on, and all our hard work with Steve and all the staff and all the backroom staff and all the players in the end, got us out of trouble, and we stayed in the Premier League comfortably. Not comfortably in the end, but we beat some big teams, like you mean, because we started building that camaraderie, and they understood how he felt. So, it was a better relationship came from it. But it's a decision you made that could have gone well the other way, as easy as it went the right way. But that's what the decisions you have to make. You have to make the hard ones.
Did you ever experience it, Paddy?
No. Obviously, I don't think Warnock could let him in.
No.
Obviously that one occasion which Sam's on about, but no, I couldn't imagine Warnock letting him in. Obviously, he was a strong character, and what he says goes. And if someone had wanted to come in, I think he'd have stood his ground and gone, not a prayer.
I feel like Neil was a good enough pep talker.
Yeah.
Without needing any help.
Teacups flying around. And
Were you in the room when it makes me think suddenly, were you in the room when Neil did the famous viral clip where he said, what was it? You've got to die to get
3 points.
Yeah. Were you there for that one?
I was, yeah. It was, people always say to me, you watch these things and we had the cameras there, and they go, I bet we're putting that on for cameras. I'm like, you were actually a bit reserved, actually, because cameras were there. Because there used to be teapots, cups, everything flying around. He'd be dig players out. But then I felt like he was a little bit calm that year that the cameras were there. But we were there. He used to love that one. Could have died to get 3 points. He's right though. You've got to put your neck online, haven't you?
Right, between the two of you, I'd like you now to build your ultimate Premier League goalkeeper. So I've got 4 different categories, and you're going to pick I'm going to make a different keeper for each one. All-time Premier League.
Premier League.
Yes. So, you ready? So, which goalkeeper would you have for their shot stopping? Pure shot stopping.
I'm going to go for Peter Schmeichel.
Okay.
Because he changed it when he come in with a starfish. No, keepers never used to do that, did they? And I were a Man U fan as a kid, so I've got to go for Peter Schmeichel, me, because he was someone who I looked up to, and I thought like he changed goalkeeping in this country.
Okay, shot stopping from Schmeichel.
I can't get past that one night.
Yeah.
Really can't.
Okay, we'll take Schmeichel's shot stopping.
I'm in Paddy's hands here with that goalkeeper. So that's a good shout, that.
Okay, who was the best keeper you knew or you can think of with his feet?
What is
that plays now? It's got to be Edison, hasn't it? Yeah.
Isn't he? He's one of Man City's. He's Man City's best long passer.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
By a million miles. I mean, I
think he could play midfield, if I'm honest.
You try and shut Man City down, and I've tried this. Was at Everton. Try and shut Man City down, and we're doing a great job. And I can't remember, it was set off from their left hand side and started bending his run inside. And Phil Jagielka didn't see him coming. And he just went boom, straight over the top and scored. And I went.
The thing is, he can ping it the length of the pitch and all. How should we happen to get it to halfway line, let alone
drop it on the feet, doesn't he? I mean, so he is remarkable in terms of. I can understand, the fact that they say Man City don't play that way. But they do.
Yeah.
And he's the one who plays.
But there's no wrong with it when it's right.
Nothing right. It's right.
Not a problem.
Because what it does, it puts the fear of God up the opposition about. Well, next time I'm going to drop off.
I bet Jags didn't come further.
No, Jags didn't. No.
Right, love that. So we've got Schmeichel, shot stopper, Edison with his feet. Who was the best penalty saver? Who do you want there if there's a penalty? Who do you want between the sticks?
Save a penalty? Well,
I'm trying to think.
Oh,
if I go
Pickford.
Okay.
If I go for one, it's off back of playing in a match against Blackburn in the Premier League in 2006, and it'd be Brad Friedel because he saved 2 in one match.
2 penalties in one match.
I saved one before him. and then he saved 2 after, so he took
Whatever
the
you can do,
limelight.
I can do
Yeah, he
better,
took
yeah.
the limelight away from me, and we drew 0-0.
You might have saved 2 in one match at Blackburn away, Bolton.
Okay.
We won it. Juffy got a penalty where he dived.
You know, I did a right good mind games. Remember David Cottrell, winger?
Yeah.
Welsh lad. So we're playing, he used to take our penalties for Sheffield United, and we're playing for QPR against Swansea away, and he was getting me a car park pass from my family. And on the way to the game, we'd be messaging that, and he's saying, "Oh, it's under your mum's name, blah, blah, blah." And he said, and I'm on the IT bloke, he used to come up to me on the coach. He used to want to do it before we left, but I used to say, "No, do it on the coach, it's in my mind. Don't show me too many penalties, I just want to see a last few." David Cottrell took all these penalties to keep us right. He used to do that at Sheffield. So I messaged him saying, "By the way, Cots, I've seen you still taking penalties and they're always got to keep us right." And he messaged me back, "F you, you fat." Right? So that would end the conversation. 44th minute, 0-0, penalty. But our IT bloke had said, "Are you going to go to your left now?" I went, "No, he now thinks I'm going to go to my left. I'm going to go to my right." So he's like, "What?" So anyway, 44th minute, he gets a penalty. We stood there. Cots has got ball. I went, "Surely you're not going to go to me right, Cots?" And he didn't even make eye contact.
Oh, God.
Me. He stepped up, I dived to right and saved it.
And he did it to the
He
right?
got subbed. I think Brendan Rodgers managed to subbed him out. So I played good mind games out with him.
The psychology's too much for me. I said that, so he said that. So okay.
Yeah.
It is the best thing for a goalkeeper today on the fact that the goalies can sit down and then the analysis lads are saying, "Here we are." So just before the game, our goalkeeping coach sits down, the analysis lads get all the penalties that particular team takes, who's the most likely to take a penalty, and here's his favourite side.
Yeah.
So at least he's got that, if you can remember it.
Yeah.
Because that can be quite a lot. That can be quite a lot to remember.
I did one against Arsenal. We got Arsenal at FA Cup, and we drew at Ibrox. They were in Premier League, we were Championship, so we drew at Ibrox. Then on the Tuesday, we played Plymouth away, and I damaged my right hip in first minute, so I had to come off. So then on the Saturday, I didn't play, and then the replay was on the Tuesday, but because the keeper that played on the Saturday were not registered for the first cup game because he were on loan at Torquay, couldn't play in the replay. So Warnock rings me up and says, "You've got to play tomorrow." I went, "I can't, gaff, my hip's killing." He went, "You're going to go for a scan now. We think it's pain bearing." Right? So at 11 o'clock, I'm in Sheffield having a scan at Claremont Hospital on my hip.
I bet he never even looked at results. I bet Neil never even saw the result. I bet he just told medical lads, just tell him he's all right.
Yeah, so they injected me hip that night. Right, 100% they spoke about. Right, you'll have another injection before the game. Injected me hip before the game that night. So we've gone out, we've played the game, we've drawn 0-0, it's gone to penalties. So my right-hand side is right tender. I could dive on it, but it was painful. So at first penalty coming, I thought, I'm going to go left. So I went left. Then next penalty, I thought, well, they've gone right. Might go left. I'll go left again. Then it comes psychological then, and I'm thinking, I'm not comfortable with that driving right anyway. And I dive left all 5 penalties, and they put all 5 to me right, and we lost 5-4.
Well, that's very unusual. That.
We lost. Well, I think they must have known eventually because they'd known I'd not played the game before. Seeing I got off the game before that injured, and so I conceded all 5. I went 5. He were one of them. It were all about promotion. Wick Cups were a bonus.
So did we decide who was going to take the penalties?
Take the penalties.
I mean, sorry, save the penalties. Who did I
go
went
for?
Friedel. You said Pickford, but you had.
Well, not you see. I mean, that was a one-off. I mean, would save a penalty too, but I just think Pickford. I think Pickford, when you saw him in the Euro final, when he saved 2 penalties in that particular, and imagine a goalie saving 2 penalties and you don't win it.
I know.
You happy with Pickford?
Yeah.
Right, and then the last one, crosses. Best keeper for managing crosses.
Ooh, that's an hard one today.
I'll tell you who I'm going for today. Martinez.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
He comes for a lot of things, takes a lot of pressure off.
Okay.
Listen, I know he makes. David James used to do it, didn't he? Come for everything, and I know you're going to make mistakes.
World Cup winner.
So yeah, another goal.
So I've got to go for Martinez because when I watch him, I just think I'd get headache if I come past my 6-yard line. So and he's coming like past penalty spot, and I'm thinking, wow. So yeah, I'm going Martinez.
I'll go with that.
Lovely, right? So our ultimate Premier League goalkeeper: Peter Schmeichel, Ederson, Pickford, and Martinez. A combination of that. That is pretty good. Right, this is the part of the podcast, Paddy, where we do some quick fire questions. Everybody knows by now that they're never quick. So, I'll give you a question. Give me your gut reaction.
I don't like quick fire. Can't think quick enough. My brain don't work quick enough.
Right. Who finishes higher this season, Brighton or Villa?
Brighton.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
I didn't know you were going to give me an answer and all.
Yeah.
It's easy, isn't it?
That's the fastest we've ever answered the question.
Who is a standout player that Sam managed but didn't totally fulfil his potential? I'm coming to you in a minute for a similar one.
There's been that many players he's managed.
Phil Jones.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best I've ever worked with in Blackburn's team at 18, in the Premier League. First game in the league, played Chelsea, man of the match against Drogba. From there on was outstanding. And even when he first went to Man United, Sir Alex saying to me, "Wow, Sam, thanks for letting me know about him." Like, I mean, we had him on the radar, but you just clinched it for us. And then unfortunately, just the last got to be 5-6 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never understood why he stayed. Well, maybe we'll get to ask him one day.
All right. We
Right.
might get him on the podcast.
We
one
might.
day.
We should.
Right.
So we
Yeah,
can
we should
ask
do.
him.
Yeah.
Right, Paddy, who's a standout player that you played with that you think didn't fulfil their potential?
Adel Taarabt. Played with him at QPR. When he wanted to, he was an unbelievable player, but it worked every week. And if he'd have had the right attitude, he definitely would have been a top Premier League player. But he literally didn't come into training some days. He just not come in. But Warnock used to let him away with it because when he did come and he did play, he'd win games. And there was one story where he'd not been coming in. Lads had been starting to get wound up about it, and he weren't always producing. But when he did. And Warnock got us in an hotel room. There were me, Sean Derry, Clint Hill, Ida Elgson, and he's like, "Trust me, he's the difference between us winning league or getting promoted. Trust me, just stick with me. Don't start kicking off." So we went, "All right, Gaffer, fair enough." Anyway, a few weeks later, we're playing Sheffield United on a Wednesday. So we played on the Saturday. We had Sunday off. We comes in on the Monday, no Adele. Comes in on the Tuesday, no Adele. Well, on the Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday, we're working on his team for playing Sheffield United on the Wednesday. I'm playing against my old team, I'm buzzing. And he don't come in, so we've got a starting 11 and a subs. Everyone knows everything. So on the Wednesday, I get to the ground. Warnock's at the ground arguing with Adele, so he's turned up for the match. Bear in mind, he's not been in training for 3 days. So he's arguing with him in the tunnel. And I've walked past and I've gone, "Hiya." And he went, "Paddy, come here." He went, "Both of you in my office now."
Did you think, oh?
He went, "This cheeky so-and-so, he's coming today having not been in, and he wants to play today." He went, "What do I do?" I went, "Play him." He went, "What?" I went, "You says it's difference between us getting promoted or not, winning league." I said, "So you've got to play him." "All right, Adele, you're playing. Paddy, it's on your head."
Oh, no, what happened?
Well, we goes in the changing rooms. Everyone's there getting changed. There's music playing and everything. Turns music off. Everyone sit down. "Right, lads, Adele's turned up and wants to play. Paddy said
No.
he's got to play. So you were playing, you're now on bench. You were on bench, you're now in stands." And I'm sat there thinking, you've stitched me up right there. We won 3-0, he set 2 up and scored 1, so it worked. But no, that was...
You.
Yeah.
No wonder you got sun after that one.
Yeah. Okay, love that. Wasn't a quick fire answer, but it was worth it.
You never
was
stated
worth it.
how
It's
quick
worth
it
it.
be.
It was worth
I
it.
need to know times.
No, it was worth it. Always feel for a good story, yes. Right, who has the strongest starting 11 this season? Spurs or Liverpool?
Liverpool.
Okay, very good. Who has a better chance of staying up? Oh, I like this one. Oh, Paddy. Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday?
Well, I mean, let's talk about this. Can't be a short answer
No,
because
go Sam.
I mean, what they did to the manager when he got promoted last year was, I'm glad to see he's gone to Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Blakey, because what he did, and apparently, I don't know how true this was, but he was told no matter what, he wasn't going to be the manager next season after the game away at Doncaster. I heard a rumour that the owner had said, "You won't be here next year after they lost, was it 3-0?
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
And so he goes and wins.
Yeah.
And obviously he must have said that and he had to stay true to his word, but he's got rid of him and he's reaping the rewards of his
karma.
Terrible decision. And of course, all the players can't say they wanted him to stay. Because I've listened before the start of the season and watched the new manager like, well, he's, what they really want to say is we didn't want a new manager.
Yeah.
And what
we already had one.
What he did in that second leg to turn that
Unbelievable,
game around.
And the players, also shows you the camaraderie, didn't it? You know what I mean?
And like gone about psychological earlier, to turn that round is absolutely ridiculous. What he did that week for them to do that.
Amazing. So, and so Sheffield Wednesday are reaping the rewards of a bad decision, like I mean. So, but it's much harder for Sheffield United than it is for Sheffield Wednesday.
I can't see it.
Can't see Sheffield United staying up.
No, I can't say what I probably think.
That's what you think, isn't it?
It's going to be hard for both. I think they both go down, if I'm honest.
Really?
Oh, you've said it now.
Yeah, but I've took them with me.
Okay. Any jobs that you fancy right now, Sam? If the
Not
Sheffield
really.
Wednesday job came up, would you fancy it?
Not at the moment, no. I've got a bit of a holiday due, I think. I need to top my tan up, like I mean, and then come back to see what's.
He has as well. So Tim's going to be in the hot seat in a few weeks when Sam takes his holiday. And then a final question for today. And Paddy, clearly we're not going to ever let you on a podcast without asking you this question. And it has come from Darren Cronin. I would have asked it anyway, Darren, but thank you for the question. What do you think I'm going to ask you?
I don't know, but I'm getting nervous now.
Okay.
Because I don't think quick.
Did you really let Aguero score past you in 2012?
Did I?
No.
Listen, you look at the game, and we'd played 45 minutes against the best team in the league. We didn't have a kick for 45. The energy we put
sent
in.
off as well, didn't you?
We had Joey got sent off about
yeah.
24 times in one sitting. He got sent off. And you can look out, we were 2-1 up at one point with 10 men. We took the lead with 10 men. And the amount of ball that City had, I think once they got the goal off the corner, even though I do think things would have been differently because we knew we'd stayed up. And I just feel like we just took the centre and almost kicked it down the pitch. We're like a relief more than anything. We didn't know we were going off at Man United. We didn't know how significant it were until after the game, and then that's when you realise. But no, the amount of people. I did an after dinner last week or week before, and some lad was like arguing with me, doing the question at the end, and he's going, "So you let it in, didn't you?" I'm like, "What? You let it in, didn't you?" I'm like, "No." Well, you could have saved it. I went, "Well, you could save every shot that comes at me, but sometimes." I says, "He hit it from about 8 yards, and you don't realise how hard they hit him." I says, and he's like, "You let it in, you let it in." I'm like, "No." So no, I didn't let it in.
I feel like you're going to be asked that question for the rest of your life.
You know why she's saying that? Because she's so grateful to you because she's such a big
Paddy.
Man City fan. She can't help it.
A few drinks off people.
Really?
Someone did buy me a drink.
I would have. They would have,
buy me a drink for that. I owe you that.
And City fan, you mentioned Mark Halsey before. City fans still buy Mark Halsey drinks because they think he was responsible for 99. So you'll be getting drinks off City fans for the rest of your life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Paddy,
coming.
thanks very much for coming. Great to have you.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
very
me.
much.
Are you next? You're not on holiday next week?
No.
No. Lovely.
I shall be here next week.
We will be back next week. Paddy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of No Tippy Tappy Football, brought to you by William Hill. We will both be back next week.